Welcome to Shares from the American College of Financial Services, where money meets minds. Here's a look at what we'll be sharing with you today.
The main advantage is that you're helping the client. The CPA and the lawyer, quite frankly, can't do this alone.
Welcome to a special edition of Shares, brought to you by the American College of Financial Services. I'm Michael Finke, professor of wealth management at the college, and we're here today at the 2024 AICPA conference. One of the things that we're going to be talking about is the importance of tax planning, where we introduce the college's new tax planning certified professional program and understand a little bit more about why investing in tax knowledge is essential to practitioners in financial planning. And I'm here with Jeff Levine. He is the Chief Planning Officer at Buckingham. We're here at the AICPA 2024 conference. Well, Jeff, we have a similar experience. I created a wealth management certified professional program back in 2018 for the college. You are now creating an advanced tax planning program for the American College. You and I have talked for a long time about how advisors, if they have a basic designation, a comprehensive designation, it doesn't go nearly deep enough into tax planning. And really, tax planning, it's one of those areas where advisors can provide the most value to clients. I think it's probably one of the more underappreciated areas.
I totally agree. And it's probably one of those few areas, in fact, maybe the only one, where when someone walks into your office, you already know something about them, right? If we think about how diverse people are, not only in their goals, but their assets, their liabilities, their income, their expenses. One thing you know about everybody walking to your office as an advisor is they'd like to pay as little tax as possible. Right? It's the one common goal across all of them. And when we work with advisors, a lot of times we see that even if they don't think they're doing tax planning, they're doing tax planning, right? They're selling assets and triggering gains. They're helping clients to establish either IRAs or Roth IRAs. Like, they're making decisions that have a meaningful impact on clients' lives when it comes to taxes. So if you're going to do it, you might as well do it well, and that's what this program is designed to do.
Well, Jeff, when we were creating the WMCP program, our philosophy was that it is a wealth management program, but we were not going to focus on security selection because we know that that's not really an area where advisors can provide the most valuable.
Absolutely.
And one of the areas that advisors can provide value is through tax planning. I mean, tax efficiency is a way for investors to achieve alpha reliably, consistently, but I do think it's one of the more underappreciated aspects of wealth management.
I have to agree. That's why the designation is in process. And I think there's two elements of tax planning that we can look at. One is the here and now. And that's great because, even if you do a great job picking a portfolio, or you help a client to figure out the optimal amount to take out from their retirement account each year so as not to run out of money, the fruits of that labor, right, the success may not be borne out or shown for 10, 20, 30 plus years. With tax planning, there can be immediate demonstrable value. You can look at a tax return and see the tangible difference from one year to the next. And then there's also that second layer, which is helping clients to create the lowest lifetime tax bills, which may not always show up right away, but over the long run, lower taxes means more money in a client's pocket, which means they can go spend that on things they enjoy or pass more on to heirs.
So when a client comes to see you, you're putting together a financial plan. If you can identify tax planning strategies that can have a big benefit to a client, but it's something that they've never thought of, never even heard of, and maybe they had another advisor and the advisor never came up with that idea, boy, doesn't that make the client much more confident in your capabilities?
It does, and it makes them more confident in all your capabilities. And sometimes, even if the strategy you're suggesting doesn't ring right with the client, they're like, I don't know, maybe that's not for me. The fact that you brought it up makes them more confident that when there is something for them, that you'll know that as well. And so absolutely, tax planning has that incredible unifying factor where all clients pretty much need it. There's been a number of studies over the last few years showing that estate planning services, but also tax planning is what clients want, not in general, but more specifically, what they want from their financial advisors. So whether financial advisors think tax planning is something they should be doing, their clients certainly do. And of course, when you don't do what clients want, we know what can happen.
That's right. So when we created the WMCP, there were a number of topics in the program that were different than what you would have seen in a conventional investment planning program or even in a comprehensive financial planning program. We had behavioral finance, we had communication strategies, we had asset location as part of the investment planning part of it, security selection, a lot of interviews with experts, and tax planning was also one of those elements. And tax planning, we thought, especially when it comes to understanding different types of accounts, recognizing when they're useful, when they're less useful, who is eligible for different types of accounts. What are some areas in the new tax program that you think are distinct and different from other educational programs that are out there right now?
Well, I think one of the unique elements is it really focuses on the planning element. So many of the courses that are out there, in fact, even many of the designations that financial advisors may already have, focus more on tax compliance and knowing the rules. But just knowing the rules is, I mean, it's important, but it's not really what makes or breaks the taxes with clients, right? They want to know, what do I do today to make that future tax bill lower? And that's the main focus of this course, is on the practical knowledge of what do I do today to make the future lifetime tax bill as low as possible. And the designation program is designed to be over 3 courses. So there's a course on the accumulation stage of life, there's a course on the retirement stage of life, and then there's a course on tax planning around death and also some other special situations. And what we've tried to do is organize all of the things that go into each of those areas for a variety of different client profiles. For instance, in the accumulation stage, you might be dealing with a small business owner looking to minimize their taxes. You might be working with an employee who's just looking to save for their kids' college education. You might be looking to work with an executive who has stock options and restricted stock, and all of these have different tax planning needs, but they're all related to folks who are in that accumulation stage of life. And then we sort of carry on with those different areas through each of the next phases of life, so that in the end, whatever client comes into your office, you're able to think about a Rolodex of solutions to help them minimize their taxes over the long term.
You know, that's really a hallmark of American college courses. One of the things we try to do is tell people how to actually do their job as a financial planner. I've heard a lot of advisors say when I hire a new financial planner who's gotten a comprehensive designation, it's great, but they don't actually know how to do planning. Yeah. And so we've taken that to heart and said, when you get into very specific types of client situations, we have a lot of case study types of education. Yep. We want it so that when someone takes one of our courses, the next day they can use that information to help them in their job.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's no secret. I have a decent amount of letters after my name. And when thinking about this program from the beginning, there was only one institution that could really deliver this on scale to advisors the way it needs to be done, and that was the American College.
You know, when we designed the WMCP, we had a very specific type of financial advisor in mind when we created the program. This would be someone who was used to more transactional types of advice, moving into more comprehensive advice, ongoing. So we designed the program around that type of a financial advisor. Who is the tax program for?
Well, I think it really covers a broad cross-section of advisors because, again, nearly everyone wants to have lower taxes. So whether clients focus on working with business owners or whether they focus on working with retirees or executives, all of those individuals want lower taxes. Now, the reality, though, is that most advisors going through this program will already have their CFP or their CHFC or some sort of base designation that covers broad financial planning, and this is for those who want to go even deeper into the tax planning so that they can deliver a superior experience for their clients.
Talk about some of the folks that are part of the tax planning program.
Well, like your course, we wanted to make sure that we were tapping into the best minds and bringing in the depth of experience and knowledge from a variety of different individuals. So, of course, I have to return the favor and thank you for participating in the program and bringing some really important points to life for folks. But we also have individuals like Michael Kitsis, Alan Gaspin, who's a renowned estate planning attorney, and so many more. And we're going to continue to add more experts to this program over time to really give students insight into what people who focus on each of these areas see on an ongoing basis so that they can take the best of each of them and incorporate it into their practice.
So when we designed the WMCP, we were anticipating a need. We were figuring out that advisors who were not accustomed to doing ongoing advice would need to have training in wealth management. And we also felt that goal-based planning was the area where we were going to focus on. And we were also going to anticipate that most advisors are going to be using model portfolios, they're not going to be picking stocks and bonds, that's part of an old strategy, an old way of doing education. So we're trying to be anticipating what the industry is going to in the future. And it's turned out to be very successful with the WMCP. It is the fastest growing wealth management designation. We've got now thousands of WMCPs. We're doing the same thing with the tax program, aren't we?
Well, I certainly hope and think so. Tax planning has been one of those areas where traditionally many firms and many advisors themselves have really shied away from. They've said it's not an area where I want to get involved, that's for the client's CPA, that's for the client's tax preparer. But that's not what clients want. Clients want tax planning advice from their financial advisor. And the industry doesn't have a program to date that focuses on delivering a solution that accommodates that need. So our goal is that this program is able to empower advisors to deliver the type of guidance that clients want and to create the type of meaningful outcomes that they deserve.
Almost a century ago, Solomon Huebner founded the American College of Financial Services based on a fundamental truth: knowledgeable professionals best serve the public's financial security. We've been here when markets crashed, world tensions rose, and when bubbles inevitably burst. But through it all, we've never lost sight of our mission to uplift the financial services profession and benefit society through applied financial knowledge. Over 200,000 financial professionals have chosen the college as their lifelong learning partner. Our expansive community continues to grow in success, powered by leading designation and certification programs, just-in-time learning opportunities, unique and inspiring events and impact initiatives that support efforts to attract newcomers to the profession and democratize financial education for all. We hope you'll expand your opportunities with us at theamericancollege.edu.
My name's Alan Gassman. I'm a lawyer in the law firm of Gassman, Crotty, and DiNiccolo, where I've been practicing for 39 years. This program gives the planner the whole menu. We can't teach you how to cook every meal, but we want you to know what all of the issues are and what all of the techniques are. If there's 72 things that every planner ought to know about and at least be able to identify, I'm very confident that your unique offering here covers those things. I'm looking forward to seeing the materials and taking the course so I can see what I'm missing. We see a lot of great advisors do a fantastic job helping clients in the estate planning area, and then sometimes we just see things missed. They just don't know the 25 techniques that are unique to estate planning. The other place it will be missed, quite candidly, is if no one sits down and thinks about what is your estate plan and what are the practical tax and estate and creditor protection implications. The main advantage is that you're helping the client. The CPA and the lawyer, quite frankly, can't do this alone. It's a lot of communication, it's a lot of thinking, and it's a lot of common sense. And we're missing a leg of the table quite often if the financial advisor is not at least somewhat tax savvy and questioning what strategies can be used and how things are being reported. Take the program and forget about whether there's going to be big legislation. Because when you have big legislation, you need the general knowledge. When the tax law changes, we spend 80% of the time learning the basic tax law as it applies to the 15 or 20% that changed. So you're just not going to be ready for it, and don't wait to become well educated to help your clients.
We're going to talk to some financial advisors about why tax expertise is so important to what they do. As an advisor, why is it important to have an in-depth knowledge of tax planning?
I think the industry is evolving. Obviously, it has been evolving for maybe decades now, but we're at kind of a precipice point here where advisors are realizing, financial advisors, wealth managers, realizing that they can't just provide the same type of financial or investment advice and expertise as they had over the past 15, 20 years. Clients want more, right? They see in other parts of their life that the advice is being commingled, they see services being commingled, subscriptions being commingled, and they want that from their financial advisor as well. They want tax planning, they want other advisory services, estate planning, trust, charitable gifting advice. There's a huge gap between what clients are looking for and what advisors are actually offering them. So addressing that gap, I would say, is the biggest challenge advisors have right now.
What are some of the benefits of having an in-depth knowledge of tax planning when you're creating a financial plan with a client?
Tax planning is very important to all of our clients because it's probably the biggest expense they have in their own budget, and it's also the biggest source of stress. So tax planning is very important so they can be aware of what the consequences of their actions are before they do it. Of course, clients do things and we find out about it. It's a lot harder to fix it.
Tell me a little bit about why you think tax planning is such an important part of what you do as a practitioner.
That's a great question, and the answer is, what is the biggest expense in your life? It's going to be taxes. If you're doing tax planning, not just tax compliance is backwards looking, tax planning is forward looking, and it's not just 1-2 years, it's a lifetime of tax planning. You're going to save more than you could ever get in an investment return portfolio. And so the volume of information is vast, and they're scared. And if you don't dive into tax planning, you're missing a huge component in any person's life.
Well, there's a lot of education that needs to be done here because a lot of people don't understand the difference between tax preparation and tax planning.
I would argue tax planning beyond investment management is one of the most important things a financial advisor or a wealth manager can offer, and it's one that unfortunately many are not comfortable delving into. You know, as an industry, we've been so hyper-focused for decades on getting clients to the right retirement space, qualified accounts, right, saving for retirement, that we've maybe neglected the other side of that, which is clients do have and are accumulating more taxable assets that have gone unaddressed from a tax planning perspective, right? So being able to identify those clients that have those needs, and they're not, by the way, just high net worth clients anymore, right? Going downstream from that high or ultra high net worth space, I would argue is very important, and for advisors to be able to not only have an understanding of tax concepts, but knowing what are the right products to offer in this space, right? How do you partner with a client's tax professional to make sure you are managing to the best outcome and engaging in even the fundamental things like, say, tax loss harvesting, but doing it in the right way is critically important.
People have very short-term thinking. Like, I want to pay the least today, and they're not looking at their lifetime taxes, and that's the most important. Thinking about Roth conversions, what you're going to do with those RMDs, how you're going to treat, like, what about your charity, what about your estate, especially with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act sunsetting soon. And with the uncertainty around, I mean, you know the tax code is going to change. It's like the market's going up and down. They're going to go up and down, the tax code's going to change, and you never know, so you got to hedge your bets.
Education is paramount, and clients are demanding it more than ever. Right, as we all know, clients can develop a certain level of knowledge on a topic just by searching online for anything like we all do. And clients have an idea of what they're looking for. They probably don't have the technical expertise to get there, so the advisors really need to up their game and stay on top of everything from not only the regulatory environment, the dynamic investment environment, changes on the planning side, changes on the tax side. So for them, finding a partner that they can trust, that they can work with to help make sure that they are kept abreast, right? Whether it's the college, whether it's the conference like the one that we're at right now, but staying on the cutting edge of CE, keeping up to date with your own knowledge base, I would argue is critically important.
That's all for now, but you can find all our episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and most other streaming services. Be sure to like us, follow us, and leave us a rating and review. Shares is a production of the American College of Financial Services, and we hope you join us next time as we share ideas that expand your opportunities.